It would be nice to know where you're calling in from. Can you just drop your comments in the chat room and just tell us where you're coming in from, your name and where you're logging in from. Okay, just great, great, great. Thank you. Um, Tell us where you're logging in from. Technical, can you please get ready to also see if you can play the video of Strength Africa at 1 year? Um, Position yourself. Oh, Charles, great to see Charles, Mumbai, India. Oh, wonderful. And from Mumbai, wow, we got a whole lot of people. Wow, wow, Kavitha, you're doing great job. Udo from Lagos State, Nigeria. Wow, wow, wow. Yeah, so let's get it coming now. Let's get it coming. Please share this link. This is a special anniversary session. Share this link. It's not an ordinary session. We are live here at the Strength Africa studios operating here in Nigeria, Abuja to be precise, the Federal Capital Territory. The Strength discussion is is a weekly session that holds every Thursday, 2 p.m. West African time. And we're gracious enough to have, oh, Joanna, I see you. Well done. We're gracious enough to have Coach Kavitha Alva all the way from India in Mumbai. Awesome, 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 awesome. Technical, please, can we have the profile of our guest up, and then we'll play. Oh, yeah. Okay, so play the video. Yeah, so like we said, this is our anniversary video. Just so that you know how far we have gone. Today is 1 year Strength Africa. And the video starts now.
Easy concept.
You do not lie, you do not fail. What is hard for you to do? It doesn't exist, oh. It can never ever exist.
Thank you. Awesome. And that just gives you a sneak preview into this journey over the last 1 year. And a lot of people think we've been around for that long, but it's just by the sovereign summons, all right, of the Almighty. And we have been here and we're doing great feats. And we believe strongly that nothing is impossible to them that believe. Thank you, technical team, for that beautiful, intro. I'm just so loving it. So yes, we have our guest in the house, and so many people are waiting up on us to say, hey, what is all this all about? So we're going to make it all bubbly, but we're going to be having a strength discussion session at the strength discussion series in the Strength Africa studio here in Abuja. Technical, can we have the profile of our guest, just so that everyone can read through as we read? Please, quickly. Thank you. Okay. All right. So my guest today and this afternoon, and depending on what part of the world you are in, good morning, good evening, good afternoon. Kavitha is a behavioral consultant and a Gallup strengths coach with more than 21 years of experience in the corporate environment and having successfully led teams. Kavitha now coaches individuals and teams towards success in business, in life, by ensuring that they explore their talents, unleash their potentials, and be the best or become the best as they can. Our commitment to clients is to accelerate individual and group self-awareness of their strengths and to guide them towards more dynamic performance and, above all, results. Okay. Before our coaching and consulting career, Kavitha was involved with the manufacturing, IT, and human resource service industry in various roles. And these roles include the operations role, the business development, and sales. And she did this for more than 7 years. And in this organization, she played a key role in setting up the business development and marketing teams. And it functions, I think I just lost that. I can't read beneath what, something happened now. Can you flip flip it up a bit? Okay, and okay, yeah, functions, training and development teams, and all right, optimizing what? Optimizing operational processes, I figured. All right, great. I believe this captures the essence, but much more than what is written there. I must tell you, we're talking to one of the topmost coaches, all right, in the world. And when I say the world, I kid you not. We have profiled over 200,000 Gallup strength coaches, and we narrowed down to the 1%. And I can tell you, Coach Kavitha, all the way from Mumbai, India, stands out exceptionally. Having played in the sales unit and then moved on to start a coaching business and consultancy. And I will tell you, by the time today is done, you'd have been impressed, and you know that truly we probably must be connecting with her, and she must be visiting Africa more often. Ladies and gentlemen, with a virtual round of applause, please welcome today our coach, Kavitha Alva.
Thank you so much, Taiwo. It's really an honor and privilege to be a part of this forum today here on your special day.
Great,
so good afternoon to Africa, and good afternoon to everyone at Strengths Africa, and my lovely friends from India who've joined. Good evening to all of you, and to all greetings of the day to everyone who's joined across the world.
Great,
so
great.
It's really a pleasure to be here.
Thank you, Coach. And I must say, this is highly impressive. And I don't believe in coincidences. So I believe that this must have been orchestrated by some elements, okay, to ensure that India meets and touches base with Nigeria, but exceptionally also because today is our anniversary. And so I'd like to say thank you once again. Thank you once again. Just so that we set the ball rolling, whilst reading your profile, I saw that you had done a bit of sales. I saw that, and thank you, Nelish. Thank you, everyone that's joining us. Good evening, good afternoon. All right, but let's just get into the meat of the matter because time seems to be running. All right, so Coach, tell us, you started off with sales, okay? But tell me, how did you get on this strengths journey? Because, just please be open with us as to how you got into the sales journey, strengths journey, having started off with sales, and then today you're a Gallup certified or Gallup globally certified strengths coach. Please go ahead.
Yes. Thank you, Taiwo. It would be a pleasure to share my journey. I started my career in sales, and I've done sales for 7 years, and I was heading the Western region sales for Siemens before I could end my sales career. But I would say, in a way, as a coach, as a facilitator, I'm still doing some amount of selling. But that's a different role completely. So coming to my sales, when I was doing sales, I did that for 7 years. And I started by doing some sales training programs for my team members. And I realized that I enjoyed doing facilitation more than the actual selling process. And that's when I made up my mind that I wanted to move into facilitation. And when I moved into facilitation from the sales training that I did at Siemens, I started equipping myself with various certification programs, doing the diploma in training and development, doing various assessment tools like extended DISC, FIRO-B, emotional intelligence, the ADAPT. I did various tools. And with every tool, my self-awareness obviously improved and increased. And the kind of coaching that I did my coaching certification, my first coaching certification with results coaching in 2008. And while results coaching gave me a structure and all the assessment tools gave me some tool or some method to understand participants and help them unleash their potential, I always had this feeling that there is a lot of bucketing and categorization that is happening with the coaches or my trainees whom I work with. And somehow I was not very comfortable with that bucketing. And I felt that there is something beyond this that is available. There is something much deeper that is beyond this bucketing that a participant or a coachee or a trainee is made up of. And how could I reach that? And how could I look beyond that bucketing? You know, this buckets you as a dominance or an influence or a C or an S. I wanted to do much more beyond that. And in 2012, my husband did my husband's organization ran a Gallup program. There was an outbound team building event which was organized for them, and Gallup was the tool which was used. The Strength Finder was the tool that was used along with it. And when he did this tool, he came back to me and said that I think you should get Gallup certified, because one thing that I got to notice about myself is notice and realize about myself is I should appreciate what I am, why I am the way I am, and why do I behave the way I do. This is the first time that I have started appreciating and acknowledging the basic things that I am made up of. So he is a harmony. His top 5 has harmony and positivity. And he constantly in the past has received feedback of how he should be aggressive, how he should take stands and, you know, take decisions and be very straight and blunt about what his thoughts and thinking is. And he was never comfortable doing that. And whenever he tried doing what the others said, he was just not comfortable. It was not easy at all. And he kept feeling the guilt and feeling the anger that why am I not able to do and work on the feedback that I received? And that's when the Gallup certification told him how the harmony and how the positivity is working for him and where is he overusing and underusing that. When I heard that statement that I have started appreciating and acknowledging what I am, I just wanted to do the tool. I realized that rather than looking at what are your pressure areas, how do you handle stress, what is it that you do when you are happy, this tool actually told you beyond that. This tool does not make you a clone of others. There are a lot of success parameters. This tool does not give you that success parameters and say you become like this. It identifies with what you are. It helps you acknowledge what you are and then helps you build on what you are. And I thought that was very amazing. And since 2000, so I got myself globally certified, Gallup globally certified in 2013. And since then, I've been using this tool extensively. And this is my journey to where I am here today.
Awesome. Look, and that must have been a journey. And, you know, for me, I had a similar experience. I love the fact that you were drawn to strengths by your husband, and, you know, and somehow, I'm sure somehow relationally also, you guys are able to understand each other better. And that's what strength is all about. When you first come into an awareness of yourself, you are best able to understand how people respond or react to issues, and that way there could be peaceful coexistence. Okay, so tell us a bit about now that you moved in and you discovered strengths. Tell us how you now use strengths to morph from your sales role effectively and play dominantly in your coaching, your recent coaching role, and then we'll move on to other questions.
Okay. So how do I use strengths now? I work with individuals, I work with teams, I work with leaders in helping them. So the tool identifies what your top 5 strengths are. And to be very precise, it identifies your top 5 talents. We don't know yet whether the talent has become a strength or it is still in the talent category. So once the talent report is there with the participant, identifying what are those areas that come in the way of the coachee's success or an efficient performance or highest peak productivity, what comes in his way? What is it that he's doing more? What is it that he or she needs to taper down, subtle, make it subtle? All of these things are very very smooth flowing. And when that report is with you, not only does it tell the individual, so the talent is basically your natural way of thinking, feeling, and acting. So if the participant or if the coachee or if the trainee has been receiving a certain kind of a feedback, performance feedback, and usually the performance feedback is always about you should do more of this, or you should do less of this, or you should be behaving like this, you should be doing like that. They are unable to identify that people are asking me to change behaviors, but what is it that is the result that is required? The Gallup strengths tool allows you to focus on what is the outcome that you want, what is the goal that you have in mind, and based on that, identify what are your talents which are working or not working for you. And then how can you work on your talents and how can you get better on your talents and convert them into strengths? And when we use the word strengths, it means that you are able to use that way of thinking, behaving, feeling, acting to near perfection results. So here we run a lot of, the corporates run a lot of development centers and assessment centers where their reports are based on competencies. There are various competencies that they have been graded on. So how can these way of thinking, way of acting, way of behaving relate to the competencies, and how can they make an development plan for themselves? This is where the entire work happens. The journey is at least, minimum 3 months to 1 year's time, but it is a consistent thing. When we start working on one talent, it has been observed that automatically the other 4 talents in the top 5 also are getting refined. So natural progression towards their peak performance happens when we are doing this journey. Working, not only identifying their talents and working on their talents, but while we are working on the limitation, what is that belief that is coming, that limiting belief that is coming in their way is somewhere where I very strongly work on. And identifying with that and reframing that belief has worked wonders for a lot of my coaches. Did that?
Yeah, no, and that kind of zooms it in. And I love the fact that you have been able to help us, show more light as to how there's a tie-in between this and your strength. Now, I'm so intrigued as to the strengths drive in India, all right? And maybe we could learn a few things on how to, someone says, the word talent reminds me the scorpion biting fable. Wow. I'm sure Saurabh, you come and tell us that scorpion biting fable shortly. But Coach, can you tell us how the strength philosophy has been embraced in India and what progresses you are making, just so that we can also borrow relief here in Nigeria and indeed in Africa?
So one of the key areas where the strength philosophy is used is obviously in improving the engagement levels in the participant, in the coaches or the employees, where the senior leaders have been trained on the strengths philosophy to understand strengths from the perspective of doing performance appraisal. So it has been found out in such organizations, like I was mentioning some time back, that when there is a performance feedback that is happening, the performance feedback is very, very behavior driven, which is if I have been successful using A, B, C behaviors, then you should also be using the A, B, C behaviors to become successful. Or if you don't use A, B, C, you are not the right fit, or you are doing something incorrect, or you need to start working a little more or do some kind of hard work because you just need to be doing A, B, C. Now, A, B, C may not be the coach's natural way of behaving. So it takes him a lot of effort to become that A, B, C. having introduced the strengths philosophy during performance feedback has helped these leaders speak on what is the goal, what is the vision that we are looking at achieving, and if this is what you are. So if these are your top talents, how are you going to use this to achieve this goal? So now the process is not, the method does not become important, but the focus is on the end goal. So focus on the end goal and use your methods, because your methods are your natural methods, are your methods that you can effortlessly do. We will fine tune those methods only rather than asking you to use someone else's methods. So this is one of the way that some organizations are using the strengths philosophy. The other place that has been extensively used is post assessment centers and development centers. There are a lot of development plans or action plans that the coaches make or the employees make to develop themselves. It has been observed that an action plan gets, people are committed towards an action plan maybe for a month, or maybe a highly committed person would follow that action plan for 2 months, but after a couple of weeks it starts tapering down, the interest levels go down, the managers don't follow up on that. And this is the place where the strengths philosophy has got introduced, and I have done a lot of work around that as well, where rather than making an action plan because your manager feels that this is how you should be doing, use your own talents and create your actions. Think from your talent perspective and create your actions. And it has been observed there has been sustained growth and sustained initiatives that these employees have taken towards their improvement. And there's been a lot of conversion of development post creating development plans using the strengths philosophy.
Whoa. And, so I wish we could just break down all of this to numbers, because I'm sure some of the people here are market leaders, business owners, and they're probably just wondering, how does this equate to numbers? But before we get into that, for those that are joining us for the first time, this is the Strength Discussion Series, holding live at the Strength Africa studio here in the city of Abuja, the central or the capital of Nigeria. But beyond that, the Strength Discussion Series is to champion the strength philosophy beyond just coming to become aware of yourself, but ultimately to be able to develop yourself and then be able to deploy your strengths and achieve impact and income. But essentially, why are we talking about you knowing yourself? Because we believe that the knowing of yourself is like the foundation. Before I progress on, let me even open this to the house. I already see Vasanta raising up his hand. Vasanta, you want to say something or contribute to this discussion? I've just allowed you to speak, so you have the right to speak right now, or mute yourself. Vasanta. Okay, whilst we're getting in Vasanta ready. Okay, I think Vasanta is ready. However, there's someone that said he wanted to tell us about the fable around the scorpion. I guess that's Swarup. Swarup, you I'm trying to find you here. Swarup. I think I've seen Swarup, so you can speak right now, Swarup. You have the right to speak. Unmute yourself.
Hi.
Hello, Swarup.
Hello. Hi. Now this was a story of a frog and a scorpion at one end of a pond. The scorpion can't swim, the frog can. So the
Oh, apologies. I think.
Yeah. So
yes, great. All right, great.
So they had to cross the pool. The scorpion asked the frog, "Will you take me across?" Then the frog said, "Oh my God, man, if you are on my back, then in the journey you might sting me, so I might die." The scorpion replied back to the frog saying that, "Please understand that if you die, I also die because I can't swim." So the frog agreed to the fact, and then he agreed that he will carry the scorpion across the pond. So they were swimming, nothing happened. When the 50% of the journey was over, suddenly the frog yells because he gets a sting on his back. He asks, "What happened? Why did you sting me?" The scorpion answered back, "What can I do? This is my inherent, nature that I have to sting." So, so the story basically tells that, that is the talent area of the scorpion, that it has to bite.
Scorpion has to bite. The scorpion has to bite. Wow. So and that's very instructive. Okay, so we and thank you, Sarup. It would have been nice if you could put on your video, but it's fine. I brought you up, just so that at least the audience can have a feel. Yeah, great. Just so that the audience can have a feel. And today is our anniversary, and we're just having a great time. India, Africa, Nigeria, and a couple of people are joining us from different time zones. Now, the natural place and coach, it's okay for us to go on this discussion because this is the extended version, special anniversary. It's okay for the scorpion to sting. That's the natural place of the scorpion. And that's like a negative, right? And usually I use this analogy as to, and that's about Einstein. I said, look, it's foolery for a fish to try to climb a tree. Okay? And so what we usually find out is that a lot of people, because they lack an understanding of themselves, almost like knowing that I'm a scorpion and I'm naturally inclined to sting, what happens is that they are like a fish trying to climb a tree. So, coach, okay, sorry.
I just to add a point here. This analogy, I read in a book of Marcus Buckingham. So he was just saying in relationship to an employee and a manager, if you don't have the talent for the role for which you are hired, no matter, how much you try to put in, whatever is there within him, you can hone that and you can improve him. If that is the talent area for the role, but you can't put in a new talent area within him because he's not born with that, right? He is not wired towards thinking that way.
Well, and we express that. So, Kavitha, please share your thoughts as to what Sarup has said. Thank you, Sarup. This is brilliant. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Sarup. So a couple of things that came into my mind was one, yes, that's the scorpion's talent. And if he would have gone through a strength finder coach, he would have been able to convert that into his strength. And he would know that it should not be bitten because that does not allow him to meet his goal. So behaving just the way you are made without a realization, the impact on the goal is where, you just behave without a coach. You're still operating out of your talent. So if the stinging is happening because you don't have a strengths coach with you. So if you had a strengths coach, you wouldn't sting, you would focus on the goal. And going by, and like you said, Taiwo, that a fish is trying to climb the tree. And I think that applies to the principle that strength philosophy is made up of, where they say that successes can be achieved using different set of behaviors. If a tree climbing fish is involved, if a fish is trying to climb the tree, the only thing that fish is trying to prove is that I am good and I can do this and I am successful. But the fish needs to realize that to become successful, using what he or she has, he can still prove that. He does not need to ape or mime someone else to become successful.
Wow.
So like how Swarup said, that in the book it was written that I don't have to, if people don't have that talent, you can't put another talent. And that's the best part of strength philosophy. And the key principle that you really don't need other talents. What you have within you, just refine them. And when I say refine, it means polish it and increase, or just see to it that you are decreasing it and you can be successful. You really don't need other talents. What you have will help you get where you want to go.
Becoming more of who you are already.
Yes, becoming more of what you are.
Thank you.
And and I love the journey that we're taking on today. Today is the 1-year anniversary of Strength Africa, and we have a special guest here on the Strength Discussion series. Coach Kavitha Alva. There's a question here from the team. I see Anad is saying, Kavitha, can you throw more light on the aspect of sometimes the strength itself becomes your weakness? How does one address this? So that's like the over. Please take it on for me.
Yes.
When your strengths, can you talk about how your strengths can actually become a weakness? All right.
Yes. So from the strengths, Gallup strengths perspective, if I speak from the Gallup strength perspective, first of all, the moment we say our strengths becomes a weakness, then I would say it is a very common man or a layman understanding of the word strength. The way Gallup defines strength is very different than how a common man understands the strengths. When you use your strength, there is no place for weakness, and also the results are also perfect. It does not damage you at all. If you feel that you are using your strength and something is getting damaged, then I would say that it is not your strength yet. It is lying in your talent domain, talent theme. It's still your talent. I'll give you an example. Now, there are people who have in their top 5 responsibility as one of their top talents. Responsibility is is known to express a lot of commitment. They are accountable. They are people who like to be independent and trusted, and whatever job is given to them, they morally take it on themselves to ensure that the job is done. While this is the pluses of the responsibility talent, the negatives or the minuses of the responsibility talent also is that they are overcommitted, they are micromanagers, they are obsessive, they can't say no to anything, and they will take on more than what they can handle. Now, if a person is exhibiting the responsibility talent, he may it's still not become his strength, which means he has not worked on it, he has not refined it. He will possibly be a micromanager. He possibly will be someone who can't say no to things that are being given to him. And he may take on so much that he may land up being overstressed. The health might get affected. Or for all you know, because he's overstressed, it might start impacting on the way he's communicating with people. If he has worked on it, and once he starts refining that responsibility talent, which is what I do, that helping them identify that what is there within you, which is creating this belief that I have to do everything and I can't say no. Identify that limiting belief, reframe that limiting belief. And once that limiting belief is reframed, the responsibility now becomes a strength, and he is now able to balance that strength in a manner which does not cause damages. Did that answer your question, Anand? And Taiwo, would you want to add something?
Yes, so I'm trying to reduce, there's some noise, background noise. Okay, so.
You might.
All right. Okay, yeah, so that, I think we're good. Now, and I love that question. And thank you, Coach, for the perspective that you brought to bear. I'm just going to add a few things, particularly around when we talk around the basement. And I've also become a victim of that at some point, where you have a strength and your strengths can somewhat become like your weakness, okay? Where it's almost like the overdrive. So a typical example, and I'm sure those that are joining us or those that have been on this program, I always share this every time I have the opportunity to, is that I have one of those strengths called command, okay? Command is supposed to be used only in a time of crisis, when there's indecision, when people have no clarity or they're not willing to take action. Now, what I realized was that at most times when I used command, what naturally happened was that I was using command every time. And that meant that I had many enemies. That meant that I was failing in my relationship building. That meant that even when I went home, I was using command, and it just didn't sit well, all right? So I just realized that there was a need to turn down the volume, okay? There was a need to turn down the volume. And that way, because and that's what we're talking about. And Coach, you agree with me that once you become aware, so like someone like Anna just said something. Anna says that communication is my strength But whenever I overspeak, it becomes my weakness. Okay, so you have become aware that, hey, can I not overspeak? All right, and then in that understanding, you have started to move to the point where you're developing yourself, and then you are starting to gain mastery. Now, mastery for us is a destination. No, it's a continuum rather than a destination. Okay, so even though we talk about mastery, is a constantly evolving process, and that you are constantly improving yourself until you exit, and then you could do something else. But the reality is that your weaknesses, your strengths can become weaknesses if they are not properly used. So when they abuse, when the purpose of a thing is not known, abuse is eminent. Okay, and those would just be my two cents or $2 to that contribution. Kavitha, please, and I just love the fact that, oh yeah, someone says nice perspective. So Anna, yeah, great. Yeah, it's all about perspective. They will draw the essence from it. So, Coach, I recall one of our discussions, we started to talk about a deeper level, all right, understanding oneself in-depthly, to the point where on this discovery session, you must be able to move away from self. And I know a lot of people probably think, hey, we're talking about strength, we're talking about corporate objectives, we're talking about income for the company. How does this all relate? So can you please help us, or throw some light as to how, when you have a team that understands themselves, or themselves, that it can positively impact on the figures? How does the discovery of a team's strength help to address or impact the figures? Take it on from here.
So the strengths philosophy says, you may not have a well-rounded individual. That is, you may not. So strengths has these 4 domains. If our viewers are aware about this, there are 4 domains in which the 34 strengths are categorized, which is executing, influencing, relationship building, and strategy. And an individual may not have his top 5 in all of these 4 domains. And of course, through coaching, we do identify how all of these can be worked around with. However, when teams are formed, you can make sure that the teams are well-rounded. That is, you can include members in your team who come from all the domains. Now, one benefit of knowing your strengths is during the team formation stage, you can create a well-rounded team. You can have people coming in from all the domains so that you have expertise, or rather the approach to a situation from the influencing perspective, from the execution perspective, from a strategic futuristic perspective, or from a rapport or a relationship building perspective. So that is one, that you can create a well-rounded team. Secondly, when you are deeply aware about yourself, what are your limitations and what is it that you really do well, and how could you contribute to the overall objective of the team, you are very comfortable talking about it, placing your request, and making sure that that request that you have placed is understood by others, and there is some discussion that happens to come out with a winning way of working. So if we know about the Johari window concept, our window is just open. There is no facade. There is no blind spots. If I have a blind spot about myself, the strengths, one, it highlights that, the report highlights that. Second, if the report has not highlighted that, certain feelings, certain actions that I've taken, because the team is now self-aware, they are comfortable sharing with each other what the other person's dark areas or blind spots are, and also be supportive towards working and developing these dark areas and blind spots. Now that kind of a rapport that is there within the team, where the intention is that to meet this objective, this is what we need to do. And I'm sharing this not because I want to pin holes on you or I want to speak something negative about you, but my intention is the end objective. That kind of a working improves the engagement levels really high within the team and brings out results that are, or productivity or efficiency of the teams amazing.
Wow. Thank you so much, Coach. And we're throwing the floor open now in case you have any questions or comments. And I could just call on anyone So I'll just flip through the list. We have a long list here. I see Joshua was here with us some time ago. Joshua, would you like to speak? You could unmute yourself. I see Nelish, you could speak. I see Precious. Precious, you could unmute yourself if you want to speak. Anad, Anad has been a great contributor. You want to speak? It would be nice to just unmute yourself. Questions, contribution. Yeah, Anad, go ahead, please.
Taiwo and Kavitha, wonderful discussion is happening, and I'm really enjoying the entire process. There were a few questions like why is with the strengths sometimes becomes weakness. That's what you discussed, and you both have given a different perspective altogether. Thanks for the same. One example I would like to give: communication is one of my strengths. And sometimes, I overuse it, maybe, out of enthusiasm or out of, knowing that it is my strength, I just overuse it. And when I overuse it, it becomes a sort of maybe, a negative impact on me or on my personality as a whole. So was thinking, whether it sometimes turns out to be a negative trait for me. That is why I specifically asked that question to Kavitha, actually.
Great.
Yes,
Great.
yes, Anand. Communication does tend to, if an overused or an underused communication just does tend to come across as someone who is a poor listener or self-absorbed. It does happen. It does happen. And I'm sure there will be other themes that you have or other strengths that you have which will support you in working and taming this communication overdrive of yours.
Right. Correct. No, of course, I have been able to take charge of it. But then somewhere, I was just realizing, why did I lose that contract? Why did I lose the relationship? Why did I maybe, strain the relationship? And all those aspects, when I look at it, particularly into the relationship domain, this is playing a very important role. Because yes, communication is very, very, very important there. What words I use, how I position it, the tonality, all these things matters actually.
Wow,
yeah.
Great.
Yeah.
Thanks for the perspective.
Great. And I know, just to take this over, Charles, you speak shortly, just to rein it in, there's the perspective around water, okay? Water, like communication, if it's not properly done, water can be used to produce electricity. So for whatever strengths that you have, you must be able to tailor it to a key objective, else it will just be noisy, all right? Almost using the description of the volume. So you have water, you dam it to be able to achieve or produce electricity, or to produce or to use it for irrigation purposes. That's the essence of what you use water for. Else, when you don't put that to use, it will become a flood. And I'm sure you're very familiar with floods. We're familiar with that in Nigeria and Africa. And I'm sure that's also a familiar natural disaster in India. It's because we are not able to dam or put that water or channel it properly. And that's what happens when we talk about abuse. Charles, you want to take it up from there? Do you have any questions or comments?
Sure.
Yeah.
First of all, thanks, Taiwo, and thanks, Kavitha. Lovely session. A quick question, Kavitha, if you can share your top 5 strengths, that's one. And second, have you been able to apply the strengths philosophy or the tool in your personal life as a spouse, as a parent? Any example that you would want to share with our listeners?
Thank you, Charles. Thank you, Charles, for being present and also for this lovely question. And before I forget, I want to acknowledge Taiwo for that beautiful analogy of water, because it explains and makes things so very simple and easy to understand. Lovely example, and I'm going to use it the next time.
Great. So Charles was asking a question. I think it was. Is that Charles that just spoke? Was that Charles that just spoke?
Yes.
Yes.
Oh, great. Okay, so please, Kavitha, thank you, Charles, for that beautiful question. Kavitha, do you want to take it on from there?
Yes.
How you have used strengths, your top 5 strengths, and all of that.
Yeah. So my top 5 is arranger is the first one. Second is connectedness, learner, positivity, and intellectual. And in my personal relationship, especially, so in the corporate or the professional forum, it's extensively used. But in my personal relationship, I saw arranger creating a havoc. As in, I've seen that with my mother-in-law, and I've seen it with my husband as well. So as an arranger, the untamed arranger is extremely inflexible, is flexible, too flexible, to the extent of coming across as being unorganized and structureless. And coupled with intellection. Intellection does a lot of mind work. So there is no taking down of notes or not making, organizing things. Everything is happening over here. And both my husband and my mother-in-law, they have discipline, and my mother-in-law had focus and discipline, which was completely, opposite to what an arranger and intellection would express. And similar to my husband's top 5 as well. In real life, so when the conflicts used to happen, I did not know about StrengthsFinder. The moment I did my report, I saw arranger. The first thing that I did for myself was appreciating and acknowledging what arranger is, and then started taming it down. And that arranger and intellections taming down had made wonders for my relationship with my mother-in-law, and of course, the small fights that me and my husband would have around being unstructured and all that kind of thing.
Wow, and I love that insight. Charles, I hope that answers your question. We see a few people.
That does, but just a quick follow-up, if I may. Kavitha, you used a very interesting term. You said you started to tame down your arranger. Can you explain 1 or 2 things that you did to tame it down?
So I also have positivity and connectedness in my top 5. So what when I had to tame down my arranger, so the arranger also is an organizer, is someone who likes to align and realign tasks. And in the past, when I would get feedback or when my mother-in-law would object to certain ways of my doing things, I would operate from a perspective that, she doesn't like anything that I do. Now, understanding what an arranger comes across as. So one is you start appreciating and acknowledging yourself. You also start empathizing with others' perspectives about you, why others are viewing you like that. You get an understanding of that as well. So having understood that how am I coming across to the other people in my house helped me to mold my communication, helped me to take care of the limiting belief that I had or the barrier that I had created to feedback. I stopped from reacting back to when they did a correction, and I took a pause that, okay, this is how I'm coming across. And I molded my communication in a manner which brought statements like, okay, how would you prefer me to do this? My perspective of doing it was for this reason. Is that causing some, challenge? I would like to hear more, or can we continue doing something like this? Because ultimately, this is what I want, or what is it that you want? How I will be also able to get this kind of a result. So I created that conversation between the reaction and the feedback. In the past, there was no conversation at all. I would receive the feedback and it was instant reaction. Getting empathetic towards their perspective and my own strengths helped me build that communication in between.
That's beautiful. Thank you, Kavitha. I'm going to try this out on my wife this evening.
Please do, Charles.
Charles, look, Charles, I need to bring you up at some point. I love the questions, and these questions are helping to drive, the point for why we're gathered here today. It's clear that strengths, your discovery of your strength or your talents, okay, helps to further reduce friction or conflicts, as the case may be. And with this self-awareness, one is easily able to interact and play to one's, highest strength or highest level. Thereby, you can maximize or achieve your top potentials. So I love that the way the question came. Now, yes, we have business leaders that usually join us on this session, but you can see how Kavitha, and even with the questions Charles has asked, on how we can use it also in our relationships. Okay, we could use it. I've administered strength to my children. I'm best able to guide them now, in a way that they can easily also deploy their talent or their strengths to achieve, a positive impact. And I think that that's what everybody on this call should do. If you've not done the strength test, I'm sure there are links there. We have the special anniversary discount going on. You could get on to do your strength test, clicking any of those links. But beyond that is the fact that we have a few people that want to say a few things. I saw someone raise up his hand. Solomon, do you want to say something right now? Solomon, I think I unmuted you. I can't see Solomon again. Okay. If you're still here, I've given you the right to unmute yourself. There's Precious. Would you like to say something? And Joshua, please go ahead. Let's drop your comments. And like we said, today is the extended version, is our anniversary at Strength Africa. We're a people and a business development company based in Nigeria, and we have imprints across Africa. And essentially what we're doing is to help people claim an extraordinary life. And when we talk about claim, we talk about clarity, we talk about learnings, we talk about alignment, we talk about improvements, and we talk about monitoring and management, all right, of all that they do, because we believe that is what gets measured that gets done. So please, any more questions? Just before I ask a few more questions before we allow our coach to settle in, and then we end this show. Any more questions? You all have rights to speak. Okay, I'm sure a few people will come up later. So coach, so tell us now that you are now, because I know you've done a lot of certifications. Can you tell us what distinguishes the strengths finder or the strengths assessment or the test from other elements? Because I've done the DISC test. I've done several other personality tests, but by the time I came in touch with the Gallup strength test and the strength philosophy, wow, I was wildly blown. So can you tell us what your own perspective is around this?
I had read this analogy in one of the articles, which is what I'm going to repeat now. That is, if you do an MBTI, so let's consider an individual is there at his house, and if she's relaxing, she would find the best room that gives her that kind of a feeling. Now, an MBTI, an extended DISC or a 5OB, they all categorize you saying that this is the room, that is the bedroom or the kitchen or the hall or the guest room. These are the rooms, or the library. These are the rooms that the individual is comfortable in. So they bucket the individual saying this is the room that the individual is comfortable in. And hence, whatever behaviors come out because the individual is there in this room. Strengths philosophy goes much deeper. The Gallup Strength Finder tool goes much deeper than that, and it actually gives you all the smaller elements of that room. It will go ahead to define that in this room, this kind of a lighting is what that individual would prefer. The functional elements in the room, that is the TV or the fan or the AC, this is how these things will look like. The sofa set, or will there be a bed, or what would be, will he have a glass of water or a juice, or would there be tea next to him, would there be some green plants around? Strength goes beyond the room and starts explaining all of this, and it does all of this in such a constructive manner that while reading that report, the individual starts appreciating and starts loving himself. The other tools very clearly talk about, this is something that you must not be doing, or this is your pressure areas. There are a lot of negative words used. There are a lot not do, shouldn't do, can't do kind of things, that statements that are used. But a strength does not talk, strength report doesn't talk about that. Very constructively, it expresses what this individual does. So these two things, that is how it defines the individual and the language with which it defines the individual. I think these are the two key differentiators that I have noticed compared to other tools and the Strength Finder tool.
Good and great. And so, and you know, yesterday whilst we spoke, you mentioned, because we started to talk about my own deep personality type, and I talked around the dominant and the influencing role.
Yes.
But I soon realized that even though I have no room, or I don't love ambiguity, as the case may be, but I stopped operating only at that level. So by the time I discovered my strengths around strategy and command, I was well able to tune it down and then also use, create options. Now I realized that because it's easy, almost like the person that intellects, it's easy for me to analyze things in my head or come up with options. I decided to see how I could cascade things down. Meanwhile, all that tests I've done will just say, this is who you are, without a guided framework as to how to move. I think there's a final question, just so that we move on. It says, can you share some tips on interviewing for talent, as 50% of the job is hiring the right person for the right role? So Sarup is saying, look, can we share some tips as to how to interview the right person for the job role? So some tips on interviewing for talent, as 50% of the job is hiring the right person.
So first of all, Strength Finder is not a hiring tool. It's a self-awareness tool. However, if it has been used, or most of the psychometric tools are used for self-awareness, building self-awareness, or improving relationships, team bonding, and all of that. However, if a Strength Finder tool has been used and you want to hire people based on that, don't start with the role in mind. You've taken the interview, you've got the people, you know now their talents. After seeing their talents, you decide what is the role that you can allot to this person. And having done that, you also get inputs in the report. How best can you support this person to bring out his best efficient performance? So be mindful about that. Be empathetic towards that. So what is the kind of communication? What is the kind of leadership that this person is looking for? What is the kind of challenges this person might experience? And what is the way of feedback could be offered to this person? That is where you can work around. But using a Strength Finder directly for hiring, I would not recommend.
I have a point of clarification out here to make. Yeah. See, the thing is that we generally interview people for their, expertise, the technical expertise they have. We don't dig into the mind. So there are certain interviewing techniques which, which are very exploratory, open-ended questions, which really draws out how the person has performed in a particular situation.
Yes.
What they enjoyed or what they didn't enjoy. So there are So for every role, there are a set of talent area, right? If it is in the sales or it is in the customer service, based on that particular industry, there's a talent area, which the HR manager or the recruiter knows. And based on the talent area, there'll be some specific questions to be asked to draw out to understand in the interviewing process that whether that person is having those talent areas. Because when you hire the right person, the manager's 50% of the job is done.
Great. No, but Sarup, you have a great point there. But so let me also bring light into what Kavitha has also shared with us, and and this is a common Gallup philosophy, that one, we don't use the strength assessment for interviews, but notwithstanding, so you also don't need to have done the strengths test, all right, the Strength Finder, for you to be able to ask talent or strength-based questions, okay? And those are tending to some of the questions that you're asking as to what do you like to do? Because we already understand that in the area of strengths, okay, there's a pointer. Your talent is a pointer to several. What do you have a flow for? What do you love to do naturally? What gives you excitement? All right. This, you don't need a test to do this, naturally. These are like your strength. So for me, if I was conducting an interview or I wanted to recruit people, I've not administered the test. I won't use the test. But one of the things, based on the fact that I have a better understanding and awareness as to the strength philosophy, I'm going to ask certain questions that gives a pointer to the person's, the fitness for that role. Okay, and then thereafter, I could also now do the test, and to properly position. But like we said, there's a caveat: we don't use the strength test as a recruitment tool. Neither do we use it to, assess before recruitment. What we believe is that when people are naturally vested in their strengths and they play to their strengths, they can actually achieve the core objective of every role and responsibility. So, for instance, if I am here, and so I can fit in so if you engage me, once my manager, almost like my coach now, rather than a boss, identifies my strengths, he is able to use those current strengths that he has discovered and he will use it almost like using that example of a dam and channels it to achieve the corporate objective. And that's the beauty. You see, when people, and that's why we're coaches, because we understand these intricacies, we understand these little things. So someone might just think, this is what we're doing. No, we're saying that, can you appropriately come into conversations with your team? Yeah. All right. There are several conversations that must hold. Can you appropriately come into discussions with the larger organization? So first we start with the self, then we'll move on to the team. Then we'll start to see how it affects the overall objective of the organization. You would have missed it if you had decided to use the strength test as a recruitment tool. And I just thought to drop that in. And thank you, because a lot of people get confused about that. Whoa, it's been amazing. I've been having fun here, man. And, the fact that today is our anniversary, it just gives me so much energy. Quickly, we're going to be rounding off. Kavitha has been beautiful, awesome. But before you say your parting words, I don't know if the technical team can just roll on that video again, or our anniversary video, just so that we know that everybody is here. And please just put in a word of happiness or joy or prayer or however it is, goodwill message. Follow us on all our handles. Strength Africa, that's the common denominator. Media, can you please beam the advert? If you don't, let's have Kavitha's. Okay, yeah. So yeah.
Easy concept.
You do not lie, you do not fail. What is hard for you to do? It doesn't exist. Oh, it can never ever exist.
Thank you for listening. Wow, look, I'm just so elated. Somehow we thought the pandemic was supposed to hold us down, but out of it, we have been able to produce this, and we're touching more lives. This is just one of the things that we do, driving the strength philosophy. We also help in business advisory and a whole lot of other things. But the reason why we're here today is because of the strength discussion, and our guest, Coach Kavitha, is so vast and so deep in this whole thing, and we thought it was nice to have her come to share with us on the 18th episode. So, Coach, your final closing statement, just so that, and if anybody has any questions, please. It took us, so much to get her here. So if she leaves, well, you might just have to pay some coaching fees. Great, Coach, your final words.
It was wonderful. The opportunity is wonderful that you've invited me here, and all of them with their enriching questions just made the session so very fulfilling, satisfying for me as well. Strengths Africa is offering this discount. I would advise, I would request all of you who haven't taken the test, please do it, because once the report comes in your hand, you will be in a different world completely. What opens up for you is unimaginable. Please take the test if you haven't taken. And like the philosophy of strength says, everyone is capable of being successful. Just know who you are and what you're made up of. Everyone can be successful and at the highest level. So please take advantage of that. So
Great.
That's it. Thank you all. Thank you all. God bless you all.
And next, so please, can you share the contacts of Kavitha? Kavitha, sorry, we need to have in case you need some coaching advisory services. Kavitha is a step away. Kavitha, please. Kavitha is a step away. Yeah, you could reach her on any of this platform. Our company is on Instagram. You also have our website. Sorry, I'm missing the email. Can we please display this properly? No, not, yeah, display this properly. Okay, while that, or you could type it out if we're having a challenge around that, okay? Yeah, so great. So you have all our details. Please reach out on LinkedIn. You could send her a mail and you could get more information just contacting her. And I'm sure by the time you mention Strengths Africa, there's a discount or a present awaiting you. Next week, we're going to be having, and so you saw that they were already bringing up a list, all right? Technical, can you flip to the next, that's the next guest for next week. I think you went on, you showed the guest for, yes. So Justin Douglas will be joining us next week. All right, please take off the banners and let's just have a final statement. Close off the banners here. Thank you, Coach. You know, like I said, one of your strengths is positivity. And it's without a doubt that you've lightened the house. And I just so feel great and glad that you were able to bring your light to us today on this anniversary date. And so just almost like I'm in Mumbai, let me use the word
Shukriya.
Shukriya. and so guys, it's same time next week, 2 p.m. West African time. It's the Strength Discussion Series on the from the Strength Africa studio. Wherever we are across Africa, you're able to get to listen and watch. And there's a replay on our YouTube channel, which you could also go and watch all series. Today is the 18th episode, and I can tell you without a doubt that you'll be greatly enriched. Guys, I need not keep you any further, but I'll say my last word, saying you have it in you, and so play to your highest strength. Thank you. See you next week.
Thank you all. Thank you, everyone. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Good
if
day
you really enjoyed this, drop your comments and just say, shout out to the coach. Just drop something, drop a message to the coach. Just drop a message in the chat box and say, thank you, coach. And just say what to Strength Africa. You know, today is our anniversary. Just say something positive. All right. It appears everybody is just, okay. Thanks. All right. Thank you. Solomon, thank you. Thank you, coach. Great, great, great. I see. Yeah, yeah. Okay, yeah, great. Dele Olutu, yeah, we see you, ma'am. Thank you so much. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Okay. All right. We're going to be shutting down in the next, I'll count down to 10. 10, 9, yeah, Kendra, oh yeah, Philanthropist folk here, we see you. 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2. Happy anniversary!
Happy anniversary!
Bye!
And congratulations.